no, you don't have to do all those things. You just pick the things that suit your personality. And I thought, wow, that's a new way of looking at it.
Make your brand extra.
Welcome, Sally. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for being on. So let's jump right in. Tell me about yourself. Tell me what you do and how you got started.
Okay. Well, what can I say? I'm from London originally. I now live in Texas. I've been here 30 years, so it's a long time. They say I haven't lost my accent. I don't know about that.
No, you still sound like you're from London, which I love.
Okay. I was a nurse for a long time before I came here. And I've done loads of traveling in my life and lived in 4 countries. And when we came to this country, we traveled for 6 years in an RV. So I had a really great time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really great. So now I'm here.
So what made you land in Texas?
Just by chance, just driving through. And we liked it, so we stopped here.
Oh, that's such
And
an
anyway, we just decided Texas was fine.
I love that. So tell me about what you actually do for work, for your entrepreneurial side.
Okay. Well, I don't say it's work because I enjoy it.
Oh,
But
I love that.
I'm retired, so I can do what I like, really. I decided to write books when I was 73, so it's been pretty crazy. And I've written 7 books since in the last 2 years. So
That's amazing. It just unlocked something, didn't it?
yes, it did. So that's my story, really, because I'm still writing books. You know, I'm on my next book now, and I can see the next book and the next book.
And you have a book coming out soon.
Yes, on the 3rd of January.
So tell me about what kinds of books you write.
I've been writing bipolar books mostly because I have bipolar disorder. And I've written 4 books on bipolar, 1 book on loneliness, a collection of poetry, and now I've written a novella, Shards of Glass.
That's wonderful. I love that so much. So in your previous life, you were a nurse. So I assume that has contributed to your writing. You're able to write from a medical perspective.
Yes.
Yeah. So what made you decide to write?
Well, that's a strange story as well. I write for, I don't work for because I don't get paid, but I write for Quora. Do you know Quora?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Question and answer. And it's great. I've written 5,000 answers on there.
That's amazing.
And 800 of them have been on bipolar. So I was writing on there, like I do, and a woman got in touch with me and she said, "Why don't you write a book?" And I said, "I can't write a book, you know. I'm not good enough to write a book, you know how it is." She said, "Of course you can do it, you know, just do it. You can write a book, you'll be fine." And I wrote that first book, How to Live with Bipolar, and it's been a really good seller for me. So it's been great. And that started me off.
That's so cool. Just that one person giving you the idea.
Otherwise, I would do nothing. You know, I'd be just sitting here.
So how did you work through that resistance of I'm not good enough? Was there a process there that you kind of went through to get to from the I'm not good enough to the starting?
Not really, but she was the one who started me, and she used to say to me, "You can do it, you know, it'll be fine." She just kept saying I can do it. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try.
Do you still keep in contact with her?
Yes. Oh, yeah, every day.
That's so cool. And that was someone that you met from Quora?
Yeah, she's written 14 books.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd never written anything.
Oh, that's very cool. So you started writing books 2 years ago, and you've written 6 books so far. You're on your seventh.
No,
one that's
7.
about to be released.
I'm on my 8th now.
That is a lot of work in a short amount of time.
Yes.
What is your writing process like?
Very erratic. don't, I'm retired, so I can write 3 o'clock in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right?
I just get through with my other work, and then I decide I'm going to write for a while. And if I get fed up, I stop.
I love it. That's perfect. that's still a process. That's still a process. So
Yeah,
just whatever the feeling strikes is when you write.
yeah,
I know
right.
a lot of writers will get up and they're very like structured and they write, 30 minutes every morning, but that's not me either. I'm not
No.
creativity is definitely something that you can harness, but it does ebb and flow.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love that rawness and that honesty. That's good. So how has having bipolar disorder, how has that affected life for you?
It's affected my whole life. When I was 15, I first got symptoms, and I would have said before, it ruined my life. So up until 73, I was ill the whole time. So it was a very, very bad time for me. My life has been chaos, complete chaos. And then at 73, I found a new medication. And since then, I've been 100% well.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's been great. And then I could be productive, you see.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, you are very productive. That's so cool. So, maybe you know this and maybe you don't. Are there any other people who experience bipolar disorder who are also authors? Have you run into anyone who is kind of like you in that way?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Yeah, but she does much more than me. She's always doing talks, and she's got lots of clients. She coaches, all kinds of things.
Okay.
I'm pretty low key.
Yeah. Is that the way you want it though?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not a public person. This is as
Yeah.
public as I get.
Well, it's good to know, in branding and a lot of what I help clients figure out is not only what they want to be, but also what they don't want to be. So it is good that you have that. You figured out, okay, there is someone else who's doing this, but I don't want to be exactly like that.
Yes.
You found your place in being an author. So that I like that you have found that and that that. That's an important part of like building who you are as an entrepreneur, as an author, as a human.
I think if I was much younger, I probably would do more.
Yeah.
Yes, but now I say, I can't do that. I can't be bothered. Jumping on planes and things. No.
Yeah,
Done that.
I can admire the quiet life of but of writing and knowing your place where you are is where you want to be. That's a beautiful thing. So as an author and as someone who started late in life, what advice would you give to someone who maybe thinks that it's too late to start something new?
Well, you can see I'm a good example. You just do it. You have a go and see how you get on.
Right. Yeah.
The thing is, in most industries, you have to invest a lot, which is a different story. When you're an author, it doesn't cost you much at all to start. And Amazon, it costs nothing to upload your book. So it's a lot different.
Is that how you published? You did like an Amazon direct?
Yes.
What's it called? I can't remember.
KDP?
KDP, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's through Amazon.
Yeah. So you did you do all of that yourself? You figured out the process and did it all on your own, or did you hire someone to walk you through that process?
It was a long process, learning, and I did most of it on YouTube videos.
I love that.
I watched hundreds and hundreds of videos.
Yes, that's exactly everything that I do. I have learned from a YouTube video. So
absolutely,
with that. Yeah,
it's been really good.
That's so cool. I love that so much. Yes, you can do anything. So lessons from this interview, you can do anything no matter what, and YouTube can teach you how to do it.
Absolutely.
So once you sit down and you write your book and then you go through the process of uploading to Amazon, what does your marketing look like? How are you getting the word out to people? Have you built an email list? Do you have a social media following? Tell me what it looks like after you hit the publish button.
Okay. When you write a book, you think, oh, that's great. You know, I can sit back and do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to sell the book, you have to be noticed. So that's a different story. And I was terrified of marketing for the first 2 years. I just, you know, I really couldn't do it. The reason was I was told there were so many different things you had to do. And lots of them were public. Like I said, I'm not a public person. So I just said, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a video on YouTube the other day. And the person on YouTube said, no, you don't have to do all those things. You just pick the things that suit your personality. And I thought, wow, that's a new way of looking at it. So I made a list and I've got 16 different things that I can do.
Oh,
So
that's so good.
I know, I've been doing them all. I've done at least 3 a day for the last 3 weeks.
Good for you. That's so great.
Yeah, it's working out well. I'm really happy.
That's super good. Is there anything from that list that you want to share with people?
Yes, I've made a list here if you want me to mention it. Do you?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, if I can see it. Let's see. The first thing you have to be really, really good at is metadata.
Mm-hmm.
For me, is essential. I don't know what people know about that, but if you've got a product, you must make it the best it can possibly be. And that's very important. Then I've got down lots of things that are not in order. Okay.
Okay.
Facebook, Pinterest, Quora, Nextdoor, podcasts, newsletter. I have a blog and a website, and I do promotions with Bargain Booksy and Fatty Librarian. And I have psychologists that I send my books to, and they recommend them to their clients. And I've put books in the library. I've donated books to the library, and I write articles and have interviews, lots of different things. So there's my list of 16 things.
That is such a great list.
Suit everybody, yes, but you may get something out of it.
I love what you said about what you heard on the YouTube video is that find the things that suit your personality. And that is so important. I know that I get a lot of questions about, should I be on every platform? And the answer to that is not what you think it might be. The answer is no, you shouldn't be on every platform, because if you don't like making short form video content, you should not be on TikTok. That's not going to be any use to you, and it's going to feel like a burden. So find the things. If you really love Pinterest and you love creating pins and creating graphics that lead to, you know, your product or your service or your website, then make Pinterest a big part of your list. If you love writing emails, then make email marketing a big part of your list, which really I think everyone should build an email list, because those are leads that you own. No other platform can ever take that away.
I didn't write that. I should have written that down. I didn't have that on my list.
Yeah, well, email is such a great tool, and yeah, and it can be so easy to add into your website that you're and everyone who buys a book should go on your email list. So that way you can always, there is a like a saying within the marketing world that the fortune is in the follow-up. So having every new book that you release, every new thing that you release, no matter what your niche is, you know, having those people who have become your followers already, having them on an email list to remarket to is such a great piece of the story. So, Sally, tell me about what has been your biggest struggle in the last 2 years since you've become an author, a published author. What's been your biggest struggle during that time?
Well, I had a struggle with marketing, as I said, but I think I've got that pretty much under control now.
You've got a great list.
I've had a struggle recently, and I don't quite know what I'm going to do about it yet, but I'm working on it. I've written 6 non-fiction books, so that was fine. My website was geared to that. But now I've starting writing fiction, that's a whole new genre. Working on that. I've got to introduce that into my brand. So I'm doing that on my website at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
a bit of a struggle.
That I can see that would be, you know, a bit of a challenge, but it sounds like you're up for it.
Yes.
And, as you with your fiction, is it also geared toward the bipolar community? Like, does it have that theme throughout it, or is it completely different? It's only nonfiction, or it's only fiction?
It's fiction. Yes.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Hey, that's cool that you're, because that's a whole different audience, really.
Yes, it is totally different.
Yeah. So being able to reach new people is exciting.
Yes.
And
hopefully I'll do well.
When you go to do an email list, you may keep those two separate.
That's a problem. Yes.
Yeah. Keep those two, you know, you can, and we can talk about that more at a different point. We don't have to get real in the weeds there about how to build an email list, but yeah, that's really cool. I like that you're branching out, and even though it can be a challenge, it can definitely be really rewarding. So where is the biggest area where you're working right now? I know you've got your list of 16 items. What is your biggest focus going into 2024 on where you want to focus a lot of your energy? Is there one on that list that is higher priority than all the others?
Well, the email list is high priority. I don't know why I didn't put that down, but that's very important.
Yeah.
My website, because I'm updating it all the time. You know, I'm writing blogs and I've got different freebies and various things. But now I'm dividing it up into fiction and nonfiction. So it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. Do you do all of that yourself?
Yes.
You figured out how to build your website? That's really impressive.
YouTube videos.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, like I said, 90% of my stories start with, "Oh, I found it on YouTube."
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. So, is there a project across the last 2 years that you are most proud of?
Well, I have to say I'm proud of all my books. It'd be difficult to say one in particular. Yeah, I really don't know. The last one I did, I'll show you this one. This is the last book I've done. And that's a compilation of all my other books. It's a short book. And it's like a short version of everything I've already said. So it's going down well. It's not very expensive. And it's like a mini workbook. You have lots of checklists to fill in. And
oh, that's very cool. And I'm assuming then it leads them to buy each other book.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah, that's super good.
Yeah.
I haven't written a book, but I would assume that books are almost like babies. It's hard to pick your favorite. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure to link to every book that you've written so that people can find your work easily too.
Great.
Yeah. So as we go into 2024, we're right at the end of 2023 now. What do you see happening other than I know your 16 things? Those are your very actionable things, but overarching, where do you see your brand going over the next year? What would you like to see happen?
Well, to be honest, I'm getting more interested in fiction. So I've done nonfiction. Finished with that for now, although I've got 2 books that I can publish on that. So I'm thinking more in terms of fiction now. So I'm working hopefully on novellas because they're much shorter than novels. So I'm concentrating on.
Yeah, that's super good. Is your writing process different have you found that it's different for fiction than it was for nonfiction?
No, I still work erratically,
Yeah.
but I'm enjoying writing fiction more.
Really?
Yes, it's
Oh,
great fun. Yeah.
that's super cool.
Yes.
So as we kind of wrap up this conversation, what advice would you give to not only authors, but entrepreneurs, business owners in general? What advice would you give them in order to build something, to build their brand,
Okay.
to get started?
Okay. Well, I think I mentioned to you metadata, and that's the list. I think that if you work on your metadata, you're halfway there. And I would advise people to do that. Sometimes they don't think that's very important, but it's the most important thing. If you've got a good product, then you'll sell it. But otherwise, you're not going to sell.
And for people who aren't really familiar with that term, do you want to explain it a little further?
Yes, I can explain it with regard to books, and then you can apply it to whatever industry you're in. With books, the first thing that they see is the cover. So without that, if you've got a professional cover, you're doing fine. But lots of people think they can go on Canva and just make their own cover. And sometimes they do a good job, but mostly it's professional, and that works. And your title, obviously, it goes with the cover. And then the next thing they do is when people see your title and your cover, they click onto your book description. And if it's not well written, you've got a problem. And if you've got typos and spelling mistakes, people just gloss over it and they won't buy the book. So that's very, very important. Then there's a look inside feature, and that has to be up to date too. If you don't start the book well, then nobody's going to want to read it. And there's loads of other things like pricing, reviews. People really work on reviews. If you've got enough reviews, you're doing well. But it's very hard to get reviews. Every one of them is like drawing teeth. So things like that, or how the public views your product, really. You need to work on that.
Right.
And then you know about all the other marketing things.
Right. And that is branding, right? How
Yes.
the public views your product. It's not what
Yes.
you think of what you've done, it's what everyone else thinks of what you've done. So
Yes.
I love everything that you just said is so perfect, because it doesn't matter if it's a book or a product or a service. Everything that you just said, all those little details, the image. So if we're talking a YouTube video, the thumbnail is what's going to attract people's attention first. And if it's not good, then they're going to keep scrolling. So same as on social media, your graphic that you share is the first thing that's going to stop their attention. And then the next thing is the title, just like you said with the book, the title. If it's not good, then if it doesn't, inspire curiosity or give them some kind of thing that they want that leads them to wanting more, then they're not going to click any further to see the inside of the book or the description, right? So every little piece of that, it doesn't matter if you're an author or if you're a service provider or you have a store, no matter what you do, all of that advice is spot on, because every little piece its goal is to lead to the next step.
Yes.
Right? Get people to become a customer. So I think you're exactly right. I think that is great advice for everyone. And I think that's a great place to wrap it up, because I don't think that there's anything more important that we could say today than to get started and then focus on how you can get people to lead down the path to click the buy now button, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's perfect. So as we wrap up, again, I'm going to link all of Sally's books in the description of this podcast, and go buy her books. So if you're interested in anything that she's written about bipolar disorder, then make sure you click there. If you're interested in reading her nonfiction or her fiction, which is coming around the corner now, right? Then you can definitely go look there too. Sally, thank you so much for being on today. Thanks for sharing all of your journey with us, and it's been a real joy.
I'm really enjoying it. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, and thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey friends, if you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you hit the subscribe button, because friends are fun and success is cool, and here you're going to find both of those. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leave the show a review. And when you do, your review could be the next one that I read out loud on the show. Oh, and before you go, check out the description box for tools and resources that you can use to make your brand extra, like our free Branding 101 Facebook group. And do you want to take it to the next level? Then check out the link to our mastermind group, The Extras, where you can connect with a high-level group of entrepreneurs through live group coaching, exclusive deals, private trainings, and so much more. My name is Alicia, and I teach entrepreneurs like you to create irresistible brands that can't be ignored. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Make your brand extra.